Failing Grayling, Farage's garages, and right-wingers turn into right-whingers. These are the interesting times. So from the Department of Scraping the Bottom of the Barrel, the government found this guy. Yes, it's Chris Grayling. You may remember him as the Secretary of Transport that gave a £14 million contract to a ferry company with no ferries, in terms and conditions copy and pasted from a fast food takeaway website. Well, he's back because the government believes in giving people a second chance and showed that there is no level to which they will not take the piss. They decided to make him chairman of the Intelligence and Security Committee. At least that was their plan. However, the committee is made up like this. 9 cross-party members, 5 from the government, 3 from Labour and 1 from the SNP. Now, for those good at maths, that means 5 for the government and 4 against. Unless you're a Conservative MP who wants the job. And in a Machiavellian manoeuvre of massive manipulations, Julian Lewis, a Conservative MP, got the non-government MPs to vote for him to the chair. And then voted for himself. A move that Grayling only learned about minutes before it actually happened, by spotting another name on the ballot sheet. You can just imagine Chris Grayling doing the maths in his head and reaching the conclusion just about everybody else in the room had reached hours earlier. By the way, the only people surprised by this turn of events are these two. Chris Grayling has slipped up so many times he's known in Westminster as Failing Grayling, a nickname he picked up in school, meaning he's had it for over 40 years. Also, the person that beat him to the job has previous. Julian Lewis in the late 70s infiltrated Labour, posed as a Labour MP and even won an election. Like something out of a John le Carré novel. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, hang on, what's his other name on the voting sheet? And it will come as no surprise that Boris Johnson, the man that campaigns for Brexit, gets given the poison chalice that is Brexit, the man who shakes hands with coronavirus patients to show that it's not that bad, gets coronavirus badly, is also the man to nominate somebody for a job with a 4-decade reputation that failing should fail to land it. I was going to go on to say that if the government decided to start a should have seen it coming and ironing committee, then Boris could put Chris Grayling forward for that. But I think we all know how that would pan out. So why should you care? Some clever toff outmanoeuvres a thick toff by including himself in any counting. Well, do you remember the Russia report? He hopes you don't, and so does he. Which could certainly explain why they put their guy, somebody who is inherently unqualified, in to do the job, so that the Russia report goes down the pan and becomes a flusher report. I'll do better, I promise. But now with this guy in charge, who, lest we forget, has just been kicked out of the party, I think it's fair to say we should get ready for the uncut, unplugged, unredacted, full-fat, access all areas version, which might make for interesting reading. But more on that later. On Monday, things got a little tasty between Johnson and Starmer in PMQs.
Last week, the shadow Chancellor said here in this House of Commons, Mr. Speaker, that she supported our programme. This week, he says he opposes it. Which is it?
Oh, yeah?
This is just such rhetorical nonsense.
Yeah.
Standing up every week saying it's a stunning success is kidding no one. That isn't giving people confidence in the system. They would like a Prime Minister who stands up and says, there are problems, and this is what I'm going to do about them. Not this rhetoric about stunning success when it's obviously not true. Finally, this afternoon,
this just in, the Prime Minister's office have confirmed that the Prime Minister is rubber and the Leader of Opposition is glue.
Now is the time for him to decide whether he backs the government or not.
Because he's the opposition leader. He sits on the opposite side of the House to you. The dictionary definition of the parliamentary opposition is a principal parliamentary party opposed to that in office. You're the party in office. How can somebody that uses Latin in everyday conversation not understand this? The things then moved on to the coronavirus and the report relating to a possibility of a second spike.
but I have to ask, in light of the last few questions, has the Prime Minister actually read this report that sets out the reasonable worst-case scenario and tells the government what it needs to do about it in the next 6 weeks? Has he read it?
What do you reckon? At least he's acknowledged the report's existence, and maybe he's going to take it seriously this time, though a press briefing on Friday didn't help.
It is my strong and sincere hope that we will be able to review the outstanding restrictions and allow a more significant return to normality from November at the earliest.
It'll all be over by Christmas! So, Not read the report, largest deaths per million on the planet, high-fiving coronavirus patients and entering lockdown late. Small wonder then Johnson isn't after an urgent inquiry. Oh, sorry, what I meant to say is small wonder then that Johnson isn't after an urgent inquiry into what the government's response is. Because on Friday, the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, ordered a review into how the deaths were being reported. As it's looking like the PHE, Public Health England, counted everybody that's dead and that has tested positive for coronavirus as a coronavirus death. So can we all calm down, people? There may not be 45,000 deaths. We may only have 30 to 40,000 tops. And come on, that's not even a world war for the UK. Right, Prime Minister?
He needs to make up his mind which brief he's going to take today. Because at the moment, Mr. Speaker, looks he's got more briefs than Calvin Klein. Mind flip!
That point where the Speaker speaks for all of us.
It's far too long, folks. We're going to have to move on.
And Brexit is appearing on the horizon like King Arthur on a majestic unicorn with a lustrous mane. It's only when you get closer you realise it's one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse that's tried a mangled mashup of Ian Botham and Anne Widdecombe holding Nigel Farage's unholy head as it scans the British water for any foreign fish. Anyway, it's all going brilliantly, so no need to worry. The Johnson has a plan. Did I say plan? I meant, of course, slogan. The government has a slogan, and it's check, change, go. With a handy traffic light system. 3 little words to implement an entirely new customs arrangement in the middle of a pandemic. What could be simpler than the person that came up with this? I think adverts should be honest, so if you want a snappy 3-word slogan, how about, what the fuck? Or dear God, no! There is a video that goes with it, but you won't be surprised to know that there is no actual information, just lovely, inspiring images of ships, helicopters and wind turbines in the sea. And that should sum up Brexit perfectly. Except this might sum up Brexit even better. They are now going to build a lorry park in Kent, a 27-acre lorry park in Ashford to deal with delays at the EU border as a result of extra checks after Brexit. And he has nicknamed it Farage's Garages, in a beautiful use of the English language. And the Conservative MP for the area is a chap called Damien Green, who voted in Parliament against the UK remaining a member of the EU and against EU nationals staying in the UK. And he wasn't too happy, saying he was never consulted on it and he was strongly opposed to it. What can I tell you, Damien? You lost. Get over it. So the Russia report is coming. And most people haven't seen it. Those that have seen it aren't allowed to talk about it. Well, not until it's been officially released. The Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, showed on Friday just how adept he was at missing the point.
Well, we're in a position now to say that we believe, we know with reasonable confidence that Russian actors were involved in trying to interfere with the 2019 election.
Ooh, the 2019 election. There's just one problem with this. The Russia report only goes up to 2018. It looks at possible interference in the 2016 referendum, which he backed and his boss campaigned for, official boss, and the 2017 general election, which Conservatives, a party he's a member of, won. Now, it well may contain nothing incriminating, I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I'll bet he does. After the first reporting of this disease in December, the World Health Organization has got enough information to say that face masks are helpful to stop the spread of coronavirus, and that wearing masks, while also respecting social distancing and regular hand washing, helps to reduce the spread of the virus. But the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, has set a timeline to when people should wear masks in shops.
A lot of our viewers are really confused. They're confused, first of all, about why it took so long and why you're waiting until next week to implement this.
Oh, well, the implementation is to give 10 days for businesses to get things organised. But the advice from now and has been for some time that we recommend wearing a mask in shops. And we're going to make it mandatory from the 24th of July onwards. I think that gives people the clarity that they've been seeking.
OK, but we don't need that amount of time to know how to put a mask on. I think we know how to do that.
Well, you say that.
En dan is het kwestie van je mondmasker nog goed aan te doen.
By the way, that's the Belgian Deputy Prime Minister, and yet Belgium has one of the highest coronavirus death rates in the world. No shit if that's anything to go by. So, from announcement to implementation, that's 11 days. 11 days! Why do we need that amount of time? When Slovenia gained independence from Yugoslavia, it only took 10 days. as did America winning 3 wars against the British on horseback. Even Kate Hudson managed to lose Matthew McConaughey in a shorter space of time. Spoiler alert, she didn't. But this is the real problem with this government. You can call them dishonest, and they may be true some of the time. Bullying, yep, again sometimes. And thick, absolutely on occasion. But the one thing that you can definitely level against this government all of the time is that they are slow. Lockdown was put in place 6 days after France, 9 days after Spain, and 2 weeks after Italy. Flights weren't quarantined until July, and now face masks 2 weeks after Scotland. Here is Home Secretary Priti Patel being grilled by the House of Commons Home Affairs Committee.
So, of the 50,000 people currently coming in that you referred to into the UK, what is the government's current estimate of how many of them are likely to be carrying coronavirus?
0.5, and that is the figure that they are considering using.
Still, for July?
Clarity on that, that is effectively what I have been presented with in terms of the figure that they are saying is reliable.
But that was a figure for the 23rd of March. That was a figure for the 23rd of March as a percentage of the number of cases in the country.
Grilled, baked, roasted, microwave, plucked and stuffed. 4 months between those figures. What do they do all day? Is Boris playing leapfrog with the cabinet? Or do they all sit in a darkened room switched off and on charge until Dominic Cummings decides to release them into the outside? It seems when it comes to making decisions, Boris' approach to anything is nothing. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these weekly updates. If you are, please ensure you don't miss another by subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. And I'll see you all next Monday. Take care.
So what the Health Secretary said yesterday was that you are...
Has the Prime Minister actually read this report?
There's been lots of accusations about dithering and lack of clarity.
Going in for a takeaway coffee, do you need to have a mask on?
We are recommending that you wear a mask if you're popping in.
Well, the estimate, and officials are clear about the estimate on this, and the estimate being the only reliable estimate based on their data sets.
I don't think you have, so let's just go for it once more. So the Health Secretary said, I do need to wear it. Number 10 say I don't. Give me the definitive.
The definitive is it is encouraged for you to do so.
Really not had an updated figure since 23rd of March.
Well, if you're going into a shop or a supermarket on the 24th of July, it is mandatory. But, you see...
You see why people are confused, can't you?
We'd like to be unhappy, but...
I have just told you the figure that I have been given as the only reliable estimate.
And I hope I provided the clarification at this juncture.